This happens every single year, okay? Someone will get a Rolex catalog, right? They'll take a photo of a watch. I'll do 2, right? They'll take the photos and they'll claim that they have found the official Rolex leak, the new Rolex release watches in a brand new catalog. And it's not true, obviously, they've just edited it. So I'm gonna have a bit of fun today. I'm gonna edit and show you how easy it is to do this. All I'm doing here, I'm just gonna map around this green sub, okay? We're gonna create a new Submariner this year, right? So I just map all the way around the outside and then all the way around the inside. And basically, I'm just gonna change the color balance to make it purple, right? So the first watch that I have edited, the first new Rolex release is a new purple bezel Submariner, okay? But we need to change the reference from LV and what should we call it? I'll probably just call it, let's call it VL, because Voile is purple in French. So let's do VL. Okay, right, that doesn't look too bad. And I did the same with a couple of GMTs. I just changed this to a Sprite, and also I changed the one on the left to a GMT Coke, a new reference Coke, okay? I changed the reference numbers and I made it look like that was a red and black bezel GMT. So I'm gonna post these on Instagram and I just wanna see what reaction they get. You can probably tell that they're edited anyway. They're not, like, I'm no expert, right? So let's put these on Instagram and let's see how you guys respond. Anyway, in this video, I'm gonna cover these 3 topics. What we want Rolex to release in 2024, what we actually think Rolex are going to release, and then what Rolex might discontinue this year. So let's have some fun. Also, just a reminder, if you wanna check out some watches, if you wanna sell a watch, please go visit my website down below, follow me on Instagram. Let's get talking and yeah, let's get into it. What do people want Rolex to do? What do people want Rolex to release this year? Well, we've been talking about this GMT Coke for probably about 10 years now. Will Rolex release a Coke? Probably not, and here's why. But I'll come on to why they might in a minute actually as well. But the reason why they won't do it is because in the last 10 or so years, I think Rolex have released 11 GMT variations. 11, okay? Batman, Batgirl, Pepsi, Oyster Jubilee, 4, Root Beer, Two-Tone, Full Rose, the Steel and Yellow Gold last year. Oh, and the Sprite, Jubilee and Oyster, and also the White Gold Pepsi as well. So that's 11. That is a lot of watches. That's a lot of GMT, right? So my reason for thinking they won't release a Coke is because they've done so much, right? I think it's quite clear that the GMT model is almost like the guinea pig model for testing and being adventurous, right? Which is great. I think we all love the fact that Rolex do a lot with their GMT range. But then again, that might be reason why they will do it. And also, there's this talk about a patent being submitted, paid for the black and the red bezel. Is it legit or not? I don't know. I haven't really looked into it, but I've heard, you know, word on the street is that Rolex have paid for a patent on that coloured bezel. But anyway, going back to the question of what do we want Rolex to do, what new watches do we want to have released? Well, on my Instagram _watchlife, I did ask you guys. So somebody put the zombie on Oyster but rose gold. Right, okay. A titanium Submariner. Wow, wouldn't that be pretty cool? A super lightweight, robust metal on the classic Rolex watch. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That's a really good suggestion. A root beer on Jubilee. A root beer on a Jubilee bracelet. That actually sounds pretty nice. Do you know what? I'm surprised nobody, correct me if I'm wrong, has anyone done this? Has anyone put a steel and rose bracelet on a root beer case? So for example, a steel and rose Jubilee bracelet from like a date just onto the GMT. Would that work? Would that work? What would you guys like though? Comment down below what you'd actually like. I think personally I'd like a steel sub blue bezel. So basically the blueberry, right? The white gold sub, but not white gold, in steel instead. I think if that got released, oh, that'd be so nice. Forget the purple one I just edited. It's basically the Starbucks but with blue. Yeah, I'd love that. I would absolutely love that. But yeah, let me know what you think anyway. Putting our wish list aside, what do we think Rolex will actually do? It's funny, it's become a running joke now every year that Rolex will do the opposite to what everyone wants, and they do the opposite to what people expect. And that makes me think, do they do that deliberately? Do they do that to cause a bit of, I don't know, anticipation for certain models? I don't know. But what I do think is absolutely true is, for example, with the GMT Sprite in 2022, the left-hand drive, I bet you they knew that they were going to release that watch probably 4 or 5 years prior to them actually releasing it. So I bet you in 2018, 2019, they wanted to do that. They tested a left-hand drive with a Tudor, but I think they know years prior. I bet you they've made a prototype of the Coke GMT. I bet you they have. I bet you they've done the same with a blue bezel Submariner. I bet you they've experimented. And my other question, which follows up from that, is how much do we think that they actually listen to consumers, their fans, their audience? Interesting, right? Whereas a lot of companies would do that. A lot of companies have ear to the ground and they want to know, they want feedback, but I don't think Rolex do, which it's quite an arrogant thing to live by as a business, but for some reason it works. They stay in the lane, and I think the reason why it's okay is because they do it so well. What do we think Rolex are gonna release? Right, let's go through a list of these watches. GMT we've just covered, okay, let's hope and pray that they do some cool, fun stuff with that. The Daytona, right, the Daytona had a makeover recently, a big makeover, so if they do anything new with the Daytona, I would be very surprised. We had the Le Mans mid last year, I think. We had basically an update in every single model, right? We had discontinuations and we had updates, so I don't think there'll be anything new. Explorer 2, maybe Explorer 2 perhaps does deserve a significant update. I think people talk about an Explorer 2 with a ceramic bezel, but maybe think that because it's a proper tool utility watch that a ceramic bezel might not be the right move. The Yachtmaster 2s, personally, again, this is my opinion, it's such a dead watch. And what I mean by saying it's a dead watch, I just it's clunky, it's too big, it doesn't look nice. I think it's got to go. So I think later in the video I'm going to say the same words, that it's got to go, but I don't think they'll update it. If anything, they'll get rid of it. Day, we had a bit of an update last year, I think it was. We had the off-catalogue puzzle dial, jigsaw dial watch. Maybe they'll release something else that's quite interesting on a day. And also last year there were some 3 new stone dial day dates, 36 releases. So day date 40. People talk about there being like a really navy blue on rose gold. The Submariner, right. The titanium would be amazing, right? That would be awesome. But let's not forget, in 2020, so 3-4 years ago, there was a complete new reference update on the sub. Is it too soon to see something new rolled across all of the Submariners? Possibly. Last year there was a change to the Starbucks, the green sub. The colour changed slightly. I would love the white gold to be a steel watch, but that's just my personal preference. Do I think they'll do it? No, I don't think they'll do it. And that's the question, what are they actually going to do? Air King was updated recently. We saw some aesthetic, makeup changes. Explorer 1 recently updated. Can't imagine they'll do anything. Do we need any changes to the date justs? We've got the mint green and the blue still doing really well. We've got the motif, the palm dials on the smaller watches, Wimbledon. I don't know what you would change with the date just. One thing that is talked about a lot, and this is my third part of this video, what will Rolex discontinue? Now, I've got a watch in front of me right here. This might be going. I've heard from some very good sources, very good sources, that this watch is going. You probably guessed it, it's the Pepsi, okay? We all know that there aren't many Pepsis on the market. I've been told that there's not a single Pepsi in the UK market, not a single GMT Pepsi has been issued into the UK in 2024, and there were very few in 2023. Some people are saying that there's a production issue, some people just don't believe it, right? And I kind of get both sides, but what is absolutely true is, if you try and service this watch, 9 times out of 10, the bezel will break. So when we talk about a production issue, there is a production issue, because it's not made very well, for whatever reason. If it's the paint, if it's the metal, whatever it is, there is a production issue because these keep breaking, and I'm sure Rolex don't like that, and they're either fixing this issue, or they're just deciding to discontinue it because it's causing too much headache. I think it will be discontinued. I really do. And I'm not just saying that because I have this example A right here. This isn't the exact dial, but this is an OP. I think that all the coloured dials will be discontinued, the ones that were released in 2020. So what do we have? We have the pink, the green, the yellow, the red, and the Tiffany blue. I think maybe all will go, all sizes. And you know what? The celebrations might be over. The Sprite's an interesting one. Do we think the Sprite will get discontinued? Now, it could have been this year. It might be next year now, because if this Pepsi goes, I don't know if they would take the Sprite and the Pepsi off the market unless they were to release the GMT Coke. The green sub, the Starbucks, maybe not. Precious metal subs, the Blue Z, maybe. It's a classic, it can't go, that can't go. The root beer, people are talking about the root beer being discontinued. How long has that been in production now? 8-9 years? Maybe? Datejusts. Now, I did hear that a couple of dial variations will go from the Datejust. It goes from the Datejust line. It'll be nothing too contentional, it'll be nothing too serious, I don't think. But again, guys, like, what are you guys saying? Like, I hear what I hear, but I guess you guys probably hear more than I do if you're doing your research. But what else have you guys heard? I'd be fascinated to know. I know there's a while to go. I think all this is going to happen at Watches of Wonders on the 9th of April. It's always fun to speculate. Like, it creates good hype and good energy, right? But don't take it too seriously. Like, no one really cares that much. But I hope you enjoyed. Speculate away in the comment section. Get in touch if you're looking for a watch, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye, guys.